Good morning, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed, for those of you who were here last night, I know nearly all of you were, the dinner last night. I must admit, after dinner I became very depressed when I went back to my room and watched England put a disastrous performance on television in football against Croatia. So you find me in a bit of a depressed mood this morning, so I hope your questions are going to be difficult to lift my spirits a little bit. I just wanted to remind you of a few of the things I said last night very briefly before we moved to the Q&A. I talked about the unique role that banks play in the social and economic development of countries. I talked a little bit about Barclays' 300-year history, its 100-year history in Africa, and its 70-year history in Africa. I said, of course, that Barclays has a responsibility to the communities it serves. It has a responsibility because we are a large, successful international bank operating across 50 countries. It's because we are a bank and that special place in society, and because we have the brand Barclays and the great heritage here, particularly in Africa. That responsibility to the communities that we serve extends not just to being a visitor in where we are, but to being a part of what we do and developing the economies. And we do that by developing talent, we do that by bringing our global network to the reach of small and large business customers here in Africa, and we do that through reaching the unbanked. We have a commitment to placing financial inclusion at the heart of our business agenda because we believe that's good for us commercially in the long term, and of course it's good for the development of societies and economies in Africa. I've been really pleased to be able to visit two community projects, one in Nairobi and one here in Kampala over the last few days, and they have shown me how Barclays does its best work when it is working on the ground with the communities here in Africa and making a real difference to people's lives. So I concluded last night, and I'll conclude these short remarks by saying we're a proud partner here of the Commonwealth Business Forum. More importantly, we're a proud past, current and future partner in the social and economic development of Uganda, Africa and the Commonwealth. I'm happy to take your questions. But not about the goalkeeping of the England team.
Thank you very much for the address last night and the dinner, and I wish you best of luck for the next game. Just my question, suggestion or comment is, when we are talking of penetrating banking in Africa, taking it to the rural areas, we really require to balance the cost of banking with the people whom we are targeting. Today what has happened is that, right, to go and bank money, you have to pay some commission. To withdraw your own money, you have to pay commission, in addition to the ledger fees and all the other things. So when we look at the person at the lower end of the economic pyramid, who is going with something like $20 or $30 or $40 to bank so that he can have some sort of saving. When he goes to bank, he gives about 2 or 3% as a commission. When he goes to withdraw, there is a commission. That's becoming a little bit of unfair thing to the people who are at that end of the pyramid. And furthermore, in our type of economies, what's happening is that when we are as private sector trying to introduce coins to help management of the price point at the lower end of the economic pyramid, we find that the banks are becoming a bigger hindrance in accepting the coins, saying that you have to pay 5% for us to accept these coins back. Now those are, I believe, very punitive to the distributors and also not encouraging us to increase consumerism at the bottom end of the economic pyramid. I would like to hear comments on that. Thank you.
It's a good comment and a good question. I think it would have been more difficult for us to respond to it in business terms 10 and 20 years ago because I take your point, one size does not fit all, and what we have to do is encourage the unbanked through incentives in order to save, and then they'll become more part of the mainstream banking system. And we have opportunity to align our cost to serve with the requirements of customers through developing technologies. And clearly it can be a problem in Africa with some of the infrastructure issues around telephone and power, and we need to work with governments to make sure that the infrastructure is improved so that we can use the new technologies to align our cost to serve. But it's a point well made. In the UK, the banking market is saturated and we're competing for cross customers and we're recruiting for new customers, younger customers. Here, of course, it's the opposite, where nearly 90% across Africa will be unbanked. We have a responsibility to bring those into the mainstream banking system, and your comments are well made.
I like the product social collectors that you are talking about. I've been also working on kind of products back in India, something called Pigmy Bank. My question to you is, was this product initiated as a social cost product, or does it consider some commercial viability? If it's going to be an income generating product, I would prefer if you can share those statistics so that I can go back to my banks back in India and show there's a bank who's doing this business as a productive, business-oriented product, initiating towards social cost. So my question is, one is to, can you share the statistics? Was this a commercial product or only social cost?
Yes, as I said, the words are the easy bit, the actions are difficult. And it's easy for me to stand on the stage and talk about a financial inclusion agenda, but what you've just described is one of our bits of action. So I talked last night about action in Ghana with the traders, with 200,000 traders, to take the informal system of microfinance that has been there for a couple of centuries into the banking system with the right sort of pricing, to the previous question. And we have plans through extending our branch network here in Uganda to take banking more to the mass market rather than just the well-off. And in India, our strategy is also to go to the rural areas. Now, to be really clear, Barclays is not a charity. We do lots of charitable things and we do great work in the community, and as I said, the best work and the thing that I feel most proud of when I travel around the world is when I see Barclays people working in the community. So we regard microfinance as both a commercial opportunity and a bit of a social cost to us, and it's more, more of a long-term payback than a short-term payback. But yes, our strategy in India is to do microfinance in rural areas. Of course, it's more difficult to get banking licenses in India.